All right, here we go. It is the morning of September 30th, 2025. We are previewing the wild card series between the Cincinnati Reds and the defending world champion Los Angeles Dodgers. Here we go. The Dodgers have made it into the postseason, and we have learned their opponent over the last 48 hours. It is the Cincinnati Reds. Um, just right off the bat, I was not expecting at the beginning of the season the Dodgers to be in the wild card series. I thought that they would win over 100 games and they would have one of the two best records in the National League and they would be off this week. They're not. It is what it is. The Dodgers are going to have to play in this three-game wild card series, but if they do what they're supposed to do, they should win this series. However, going to give you a little bit of a preview here of this series against the Cincinnati Reds. You know, don't be fooled by their record, and don't be fooled if you don't know a lot of their players. This is not a pushover team, and there has been a lot of confidence built in that clubhouse. Really, all of September, led by their manager Terry Francona. Um, this is not a pushover team. I want to make that very clear. When I was recording my usual podcast with Kyle, the last really 2.5 weeks, we'd figured it was very clear that the Dodgers were going to be the 3 seed and they were going to have to play in the wild card series. And it was very, by the time we got to the end of really the beginning of last week, it was down to three teams that the Dodgers could face. It was either going to be Arizona, Cincinnati, or the New York Mets. And then, of course, it went down to game 162 on Sunday. In typical Mets fashion, they lost their game. So then Cincinnati, but even though Cincinnati lost their game as well, and both teams finished with the same record, didn't matter. The Reds had the tiebreaker over the Mets. So as long as the Reds finish with the same or better record than the Mets, they were going to get that last spot, and that's what happened Sunday afternoon. So now here come the Cincinnati Reds, and just to give you a little bit of a backstory here about this Cincinnati Reds team, um, 38, 83, Jesus, not 38, it wouldn't even qualify. 83 and 79 was their record this season. And I know what you're thinking. It's not that good. You know, it's probably not that good, but obviously it was enough to get into the postseason and get that final spot. So, um, obviously they're a deserving opponent. 14 and 11 to finish the final month of the regular season to get into the dance of October. And just to show you how much, this team, um, their chances on September 16th of this month on Fangraphs, they had less than they had their percentage chances of making the postseason on September 16th was 3.1%. That was their chance. They had over a 90% chance to miss the postseason, which is insane. And you want to go back further to the earlier in that month on September 5th, they only had a 1.3% chance to make the postseason. So they are the first team in MLB history to have no batter to hit over 270. I think the highest, um, I was looking at it yesterday, looking at their lineup. The player with the highest batting percentage on this team is former Dodger world champion Gavin Lux, and he's batting 260. He hit 269. No team, or excuse me, no Reds player hit over 25 home runs in the regular season. Ellie De La Cruz was your leader, I believe, with 23. No starting pitcher won 15 games this season, and no starting pitcher got over 200 strikeouts. That's when I say things like that, they don't have a hitter that hit over 270 and they don't have a player that hit over 25 home runs. You're not supposed to make the postseason. You're not supposed to. When I say that, it sounds like, how did this team get in? Well, um, I'll explain to you how. They don't have an overpowering offense, as you probably just heard with those couple stats that I gave you. They're ranked 19th in batting average. They rank 14th in scoring. Of course, I say this, giving their regular season stats, but of course, the postseason, it doesn't matter. Everybody starts at zero. We're all back to square one again. Even the Dodgers, even the Dodgers. So how do they get to the postseason, you may ask? Couple reasons. Terry Francona. Terry Francona. He's been around baseball for a long period of time, and he's one of the best managers of this century, if not of all time, just in terms of his willing to win and how much success he's had in other places. Two-time World Series champion manager and a three-time manager of the year. He won those two championships with the Boston Red Sox in '04 and in '07. Of course, that '04 team broke the 86-year curse with the Boston Red Sox. So little bit of Tito magic going again, and he was the Guardians Indians/Guardians manager for the longest time too. Got to the World Series with them, won a pennant in 2016, fell to the Cubs, and then I believe at the end of 2023, I think that's what it was. He said that he was going to retire, and a lot of people said it wasn't going to be for good. Maybe he'll take the year off, rest up, and he'll be back in 2025, and that's exactly what happened. He was not managing a team in 2024, and then in the off season, the Reds picked him up, and it's worked out so far in year one. It's worked out so far in year one. Um, their star player, and if you know me well, this guy is one of my favorite players to watch in the league, Ellie De La Cruz. He is the heart and soul and the leader of that team. Um, really good player, super tall, Dominican. He played 162 games this season. His stats were he hit 264 with 22 home runs, 86 RBIs, a 776 OPS, which is on base plus slug, and he had 37 stolen bases this season. And he led the team in the last four categories. That's home runs, RBIs, OPS, and stolen bases. So look out this series, and this is probably one of my keys to this short series is that you have to keep Ellie De La Cruz off off the bases, because if you let him on with a base hit or a walk, he's gonna try and steal second without question. So if you can keep Ellie De La Cruz from getting on base and from trying to steal bags, this Dodger team is gonna be okay. Um, their biggest strength. I've kind of been talking negative, like, oh, they don't have a great offense, but here's their biggest strength. Their biggest strength is their starting rotation, without a doubt. They rank ninth in Major League Baseball this season in ERA, which is earned run average, and since September 6th, and again, they've had this, you know, they played well this month to get in. They were ranked fourth in ERA. So their pitching has been really good, and it's led by Hunter Green, the Reds' Game 1 starter tonight. 7-4 record with a 2.67 ERA, 132 strikeouts and 19 starts. He did miss more than 2 months at the middle of the season with a groin strain, so that's why he's only 7-4. He is one of the hardest throwing pitchers in this sport. His fastball averages pretty much 100 miles an hour, and his slider, devastating slider, clocks in at 90 degrees, and he's one of the best pitchers at getting chase, whiff, and strikeouts. He ranks fifth among pitchers with 100 innings, and he has a strikeout rate of 31.4%. Now, the Dodgers are going to see him tonight in Game 1. Now, they've had success off of him before, but don't get me wrong, man. He's waited a long time for this. He's even from here. He's from the Southern California area, and he was at the World Series last year at Dodger Stadium. So there's no doubt in my mind that he has waited for this day for a long time. And Dodgers just have to sit fastball and be ready to hit the velocity, because he's going to get it up there. You're going to see it 100, 101, 99 miles an hour tonight, and look for that. And, of course, they have other starting pitchers too. Andrew Abbott, who... and Nick Lodotto, Brady Singer, again, all have really good numbers. So like I said, their starting pitching is one of their strong suits, and their starting rotation is a little weird, because this is only a 3 game series, a short 3 game series. So, very interested to see how it works out. But that's a little preview on the Cincinnati Reds. Just going over the Dodgers real quick. Of course, the Dodgers are going to throw out Blake Snell, Yamamoto, and if there is a game three necessary, it's going to be Shohei Ohtani. Now, initially, before they had announced what the starting rotation was going to look like, I really thought it was going to be Ohtani, Yamamoto, and if there was a game three, it was going to be Snell. Dodgers didn't do that. They did it the other way. The idea behind that is that they want to save Shohei Ohtani for a potential game one on Saturday against the Philadelphia Phillies at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia if they can get past this series. Um, I get it. It makes sense. Shohei Ohtani, his numbers back it too that days after a start, he's not that good at the plate just because he had to put so much energy into just trying to pitch and hit. And remember, he hasn't done this in a while. He didn't pitch at all last year, and then he got hurt in 2023 in August. So this has been a long time since he's had to do both, and he's still trying to make his way back. But I understand why they're doing this. Blake Snell, this is why you brought him here, man. This is when you brought him when you signed him in free agency last year. You brought him in for moments like tonight. Hey, we're giving you the ball game one. Go out there and dominate. And Blake Snell, when he was with the Giants, threw his first career no hitter against this exact same Cincinnati Reds team. Of course, the lineup 1 through 9 is not the same, but most of the guys are still there that he threw the no hitter against a couple years ago. So that's something to keep in mind too. But this is not a pushover series. I mentioned this earlier. The Cincinnati Reds are a good team and they deserve to be here. And I just hope that the Dodgers are going to be ready to play tonight because the Cincinnati Reds are going to be ready to play tonight. Listen, many people thought that the Cincinnati Reds were maybe a year early from making the postseason. It seems like everybody thought that they were going to be a postseason team next year. This is the first time that they have made the postseason in a full season since 2013. They made it in 2020, but of course, expanded postseason, 60-game regular season, everything. It's been a long time coming for this team, and they've kind of tried to put the pieces together in the last couple of years. Ellie De La Cruz, all these different Matt McClain, all these different types of pieces. Hunter Green, they put the rotation together. It's finally starting to click, and it seems like once they got Terry Francona, he really put this team together, and put it out a good product on the field, and they deserve to be here. So, my prediction I said yesterday was Dodgers in 2. I stand by that. It's not going to be easy, though. I can definitely see a scenario where Hunter Green is mowing down the Dodgers tonight. He goes deep into the ball game, and the Reds steal game 1 tonight. But I can also see a scenario where this Reds team comes in maybe a little deer in the headlights, maybe a little nervous, and then Dodgers jump on them early, and it's not a game by the 6th inning. But I still think Dodgers in 2, but I would not be surprised if the Reds took a game in this series. But overall, the Dodgers have too much talent, in my opinion. And they just have to perform like we know he can. My 3 keys to this series, I just mentioned one earlier. Keep Ellie De La Cruz off the base pads because he can create havoc, and he's going to be a pain in the ass no matter what. Number 2, Dodger starters, and this might be the overall theme as hopefully the Dodgers keep going deeper and deeper into October. These starting pitchers have to go deep into these games. They have to go deep into these games. We've seen it all summer that this bullpen cannot be relied on, and why they did look better in the final weekend, really the final week of this season with the Diamondbacks, the last 2 games, and then all 3 games against the Mariners, even though they didn't mean anything. This bullpen needed something to feel good about themselves, and Blake Trinan struck out the side, got out of a big spot. Tanner Scott almost blew the game Friday, but he was able to find a way to get the last 2 outs. So Alex Vesia looked good on Saturday. So they closed Saturday, I think Sunday, with 9 straight strikeouts to their bullpen. So something to feed off a little bit and something to feel good about. But still, I still don't trust the bullpen. So your starters have to go deep into these games as much as they can. There's going to be a problem tonight and it can happen because Blake Snell loves to walk people, and Blake Snell loves to get that pitch count up. There is a scenario tonight where Blake Snell could be out of the game in the fifth inning, just because his pitch count was really high. Maybe he walked one or two guys here, got a couple guys on base. Yeah, he got out of it, and he got a lot of swings and misses and strikeouts, but we need Blake Snell to go deep into this game, and if they do, look for guys like Emmett Sheehan or look for guys like Tyler Glasnow to be coming out of the bullpen in relief in this series. And lastly, my third key, you got to score first. You got to score first. It's bad enough that this series is only 3 games, and if you lose tonight, you're facing elimination tomorrow. You got to score first. You got to keep this Dodger fan base engaged because if Cincinnati comes in there tonight, scores first, you're going to take a lot of that energy out of the building already. And, not saying that the Dodgers, will play tight, but they'll probably start to feel it a little bit if Cincinnati comes in there and is ready to go at 6 or 8 p.m. tonight. But should be a good series. I still think the Dodgers are going to win, but it would be a disaster if this Dodger team cannot figure out a way to beat the Reds 2 out of 3 times in this short series. It would be disaster. But we'll see. Dodgers keep doing what they're doing. Their offenses look good for over a month now, pretty consistent. Their starting pitching's been good since August. Bullpen still questionable, but again, if your starters can go deep into these games and your offense can do what they're supposed to do and score runs, the bullpen should not have to be in that many tight spots in this series. But we shall see. Dodgers in 2. Of course, after every postseason game, I'm going to give my reaction. I'm going to do this again tonight after Game 1. And hopefully it's after a Dodger victory. But, again, this Reds team is not a pushover team. They deserve to be here. And it should be a fun series. So, thank you so much for watching or listening, however you do. Go Dodgers. Road to repeat starts tonight. Dodgers are 13 wins away from the ultimate goal once again. See you after Game 1 tonight. Adios.